Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very, very special bonus episode of the Cinema Recall podcast. I am, of course, the Vern. Unfortunately, my lovely co-host Ashley Urach could not make it because we're recording this on the Central Time Zone a little bit late, and she's like, "I've got to get my kids to bed. I've got to work in the morning. I just cannot stay up that late." So, love you much, Ash. She'll be back on again soon, but we'll let you all know that. Cinema Recall can be found everywhere podcasts can be found. We're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we're on Podchaser, Good Pods, Apple Podcasts. Just find us everywhere. Our Patreon page is patreon.com/cinemarecallpod, where you will be getting this episode early before everyone else. So please subscribe to there, and I'll give our wonderful Patreon members a great shout out at the end of the show. But our guests today are the filmmakers of some of the most funnest movies you will find anywhere. All right, they are the main reason that you should get Tubi, and I'm hoping to see their features on a big screen with a large crowd because it would just be absolutely epic. From the filmmakers of Murdercise, Slasher Party, and Streets of Vengeance, I have with us right now Angelica, Alba, and Paul Ragsdale. Welcome.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
So I've been seeing ads of Murdercise pop up here and there. Big shout out to the podcast hosts from the Late Night Podcast because they've been doing a really great job of promoting that. Crazy Sexy Ghoul and Pretty Hate Machine.
Yes.
They've just been doing so I've been seeing posts on their channels about the movie, and I've just seen this post everywhere because I've joined the Tubi app and all this stuff. So I definitely want to get into your early features as well. But just really quickly, can you tell us about the start of Murdercise and how did that get started? And for listeners that don't know what Murdercise is about, and I'm not going to go into too much spoilers here, it's about a girl named Phoebe, played by Kansas Bolin, and she's part of this aerobics workout team, and she's like really into fitness, and the other ladies in there are just more about showing themselves off, and she gets so frustrated that they're not into fitness so much that she wants to start killing people, and that's just a small portion of it right there. And then there's other bad people who show up there. Just really quickly, how did you guys come up with like this concept and getting this ball rolling on Murdercise? Like, how did it start off?
Well, I mean, first of all, I'm a fan of like the very, very tiny subgenre of horror workout movies. Mm-hmm. And it's very tiny. It's only a few: killer workout, death spa, and even Linnea Quigley's horror workout. You know, it's not a movie, but you know. So like I've been a fan of those for a long time, and I always thought like, oh, it'd be kind of cool to do something like that, you know. And then I just got finished writing a couple of other screenplays for other films that we're going to be doing next year, or at least one we're going to do next year. But it was like the end of the year, it's like about November, and I felt like I wanted to write something pretty small and pretty fast and not like spend too much time on it, too much laboring over like rewrites and stuff like that. I just want to get it out fast and just make it funny, make it crazy, make it, you know, over the top. And I thought, you know, an aerobics horror movie would be, you know, the perfect vehicle. Always wanted to do one, why not just do it? And then the title Murdercise came to me, and I was like, okay, well, that's something I can go off of. And then just started writing it. And like I said, didn't want to spend too much time writing it, maybe like a month to write it, and then rewrite it another month. And then the following year of 22, we started just talking and like going over pre-production and stuff. And we took that slow, but as far as like writing the script, we just wanted to make it really fast and quick. And, you know, it just got really big. It became like our biggest movie to date, ironically, you know. But we didn't intend for that to happen.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't know what to. Are you able to move your camera just a little bit over? Cause I'm seeing just the side of your face, Paul. Your face was full before, but then you move in a little bit.
Well, I mean,
yeah. Oh, perfect. Now we can see both of your full, beautiful faces.
Cool.
So, I guess I'm curious here. Who is the producer and who is the director of your team? I mean, or do you actually have a different producer?
Like, no, she's the producer.
You're the producer, Angelica. All right.
Yeah.
So you're in control of like the casting and
We
hiring the
do.
crew a little bit,
We
right?
pretty much
We want you to do
we do
everything
everything
together.
together.
You
So
Yeah.
do,
even though my
okay.
name, yeah, we're credited as whatever,
Writer directors.
but we create
Yeah,
everything together, and all the decisions we make together. So
Hmm.
okay.
yeah.
So I just saw, for like Murdercise, how did you find your wonderful cast members for this? Did you have to have like weeks of auditions, or you just knew? Did you write this movie? Did you write the characters for the actors who are playing them, or was it an audition process? How did that work out?
No auditions. Some of the roles were written with people in mind because we
Okay.
like to meet.
Normally we do that, but this one not as much.
Yeah, we've done quite a few projects at this point, and we have a lot of people that we really enjoy working with, and if possible, we try to write them into the future projects. So a lot of people are returning, like Nina, Drew, Luis. There's
Hmm.
some of the fan favorites that we
Yeah.
like to work with over and over again.
Brian.
Brian, Ginger Lynn,
Right.
and
So
we
those ones were written in mind.
we
Ginger, Brian, Drew, and I don't think,
Nina.
yeah, Nina for sure. I can't think of, but everyone else, was either they were new to the movie, like Jessa and Kansas and Adri, or we were trying to see who we could find and bring back, but we didn't write it with them in mind. But we brought back like Victoria and Crystal and Luis. So those are people that we had worked with before in other movies, but they weren't in mind when we were writing. But they just came to mind when we were casting, basically.
Oh,
Yeah, we
sure.
like to create like a wish list of people we would like to work with, and then we take it from there and see if they're interested, if they're available. We don't
Hmm.
typically do auditions very often because we
Right.
have very specific look or attitude or capabilities in mind when we write.
Yeah.
Well, perfect. Because I noticed, like, because I know for sure Murdercise was the very first feature I saw of yours, and one of the most stand-up performances from that was of the character Phoebe, played by Kansas
Mm.
Bolin, and
Yeah.
Isabel, played by Nina Lene Kent, and those two actors really
Hmm.
like stood out. I mean, not saying the
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
actors are not bad. Like Crystal Shea is great, and
Hmm.
Jessica Flutz is great too. Ginger Lynn's great, but for me, those two characters just really like stood out. Did you see them in other features? I know that Nina was cast in your other feature slash Charette Party,
Hmm.
but did you find them at other places? You said Kansas Bolin was a new addition to your team. Did you see her in another feature
Yeah.
film, or would you discover her?
Because Kansas, I knew of from her directing work. I knew of her from BC Butcher, because she had made like the headlines, kind of like in independent film world for being so young and having her first feature film. So I knew of her from there, and then I would see her periodically like do some like music video work, either as an actor or a director. I think she was also in a Friends movie, Psycho Ape. So I'd seen that. I thought she was good in there. And I just been seeing her around, and to be honest, I mean, if everyone knows about the story of Murdercise, she was last minute, very last minute, because
Oh
we had already
wow!
had someone else cast. We had someone else cast in her role, ready to go, dates, flights, hotels, ready, announced, on a poster, all that kind of stuff. And then they dropped out due to like some family issues. So she really came in like she wasn't written in mind, but like now that the movie's done, it's like you can imagine anyone else in that role but her. She's
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. It was like serendipitous.
perfect. Yeah.
And
What?
Nina, we discovered Nina. She wasn't in any other. She hadn't done any other movies before. We discovered her here. She's from our hometown, and we put her in a short film, like in 2017, I believe. And we just love her. She's our family, and so we just want to keep working with her. Put her in Slash Rep Party. She was great there, and she's just like our go-to girl right now for like a badass character.
Oh yeah, 100%. That was absolutely up there. And then I've noticed that you worked with adult film legend Ginger Lynn in
Hmm.
basically all your features, even going back to Streets of Vengeance. How
Yeah.
did you get hooked up with her?
We got hooked up with her because we're doing Streets of Vengeance, and there were no adult film stars in there. They weren't planned to be in there. Like anyone that ended up being in the movie, it came much later. It was actually the idea of Angie. she was like, well, if we're doing this movie about don't film stars, maybe we should have some in the movie. And Ginger Lynn, she was kind of the inspiration for the movie. Well, especially the cover of one of her VHS tapes was the inspiration. You know, I always say, you know, people have heard me say it a million times, but like the cover of New Wave Hookers, I always thought if that movie was not a porn movie, but if it was like a thriller directed by Brian De Palma, that would be pretty interesting. So that was always like our North Star whenever we were doing like casting or doing like wardrobe, hair, makeup. We always said, okay, well, we want it to kind of look like this. And then so Angie was like, why don't we just ask her, you know? And I was like, I guess. Like,
Okay.
do you think she'll say yes, you know? And Angie was the one that really encouraged me to send her an email. Just ask her, you know? And by that time, we had like posters and trailers by that time. So we had a lot to show her to bring her in or to give her an idea of what this movie was about. And she took a chance on us. And, you know, we flew her out to San Francisco and shot our scenes. And we just really hit it off. You know, she's just become like a great friend now. She was just here last week, Thursday, for the Murdercise screening here in Modesto. And, you know, she brought Christy Canyon with her. And, you know, just talking to her and just like talking about their friendship and everything. And it's just like a great time. Like, she's just like one of our friends. And we're just honored to like be considered her friend.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy. We've become good friends.
That's epic. It seems like when I watched Murdercise, all the cast members really got along with each other. I hope so. I hope there's no drama behind the scenes, but it just seemed like everyone just had a really, really good time. Now, when you do shoot a movie, do you do like a script rehearsal beforehand? Do you like take 2 weeks to rehearse the material, or do you just shoot it just right off the bat, or how does that work
I
out?
think the only film that we've had the luxury of doing rehearsals for was Slaughterette Party.
Okay.
That was just because the cast happened to have scheduling available where most of them had the time to do 1 or 2 rehearsals. Also, with Slaughterette Party, there was a time constraint there.
Yeah.
So we only had 3 or 4 days in a cabin where if we didn't finish the majority of the film, we weren't going to be able to go back there.
Yeah.
So we had to be as prepared as possible, and that's why we did rehearsals for that one. The actors for Murdercise, a lot of them flew from out of state, and they're all from different cities, so it's not really possible to do in-person rehearsal. There is Zoom, but again, we're all in different time zones, and people have kids and jobs and school, and lining up scheduling to make the movie is challenging enough, let alone adding in additional timing for rehearsals. But I do know these actors from Murdercise, they really take their work seriously, and all of them have really put in the work to have their lines and their parts memorized, and they really worked with us as far as developing their character and what we were looking for so that they could be as prepared as possible by the time they showed up to set.
Yeah, and we do like a run through before we turn on the camera, you know, for the scene. But that's pretty much it. I guess, and like Angie said, like the only reason we did that for Slaughterette Party is because we're staying the night there and living there essentially at the cabin. So we had to be ready before we went up there. We weren't gonna have time to rehearse, and that's how it is mainly for independent movies. Like there is not a lot of time for rehearsal.
Yeah. We would love to be able to rehearse, but usually with independent film, like everybody's got a lot going on in their personal lives, and it's hard enough to schedule the shoot dates, let alone add in additional like rehearsal dates.
So, like, how long did it take to shoot Slaughterette Party versus Murdercise? Like, how many? Do you remember?
I think the bulk of Slaughterette Party was shot in a 3-day weekend.
Oh.
Then we did come back again for another weekend and finished off. I think that was like 95% of the film shot in 5 days.
Right.
I think Murdercise was probably the same thing. We shot for a 3-day weekend. Then we came back again the following weekend for another 2 days. So again, it was like 95% of the film shot in 5 days.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the beauty of having one location movies. You know, when you have one location, we all just show up there, shoot everything, and anything that we have that's like, you know, outside of the main location, we kind of just take care of after the principal photography, and we go back later and shoot the pickup shots.
Sure. I think what a lot of people don't realize is that when you're shooting an independent feature, you don't have the luxury of time. to make
Right.
it
Right.
and to try to like, because like, did you set like a deadline for yourself? Like, did you try to have like a deadline for when you wanted to have the movie started to when you had the movie finished and released? 'Cause-
We usually do.
Yeah, like a loose kind of deadline.
Yeah, we keep it loose just because you can plan as much as you'd like. Things inevitably come up, and things change. But so we do have a loose in mind
Yeah.
end date to have the whole thing done and out
Yeah.
to the public.
But but like when you're on a roll, or when you have a vision, or when you want something, like you don't want to cut it short just because of a some sort of a deadline. Like for Streets of
Sure.
Vengeance, for instance, that's the one where we did spread our shooting schedule over a pretty long period of time, and that was due to some outside things, or the not availability of actors or whatever. But it allowed us to then shoot with Ginger Lynn and shoot with Joanna Angel and Sophie D and stuff. Like those shoots came, they were like small shoots that were spread over like a period of like 3 months. And if we had a hard deadline of like 6 months or whatever, not even 9 months, we wouldn't have never got those. So we just really take advantage of the time we have, and we don't put too much pressure because we know we're gonna finish it, even though maybe some people really really want to see it, and that's usually what happens. People are like, "When's the movie coming out? When's the movie coming out?" It's like well, just takes time. Just takes time. We want to get certain things like in Murdercise, the big finale at the end with the chainsaw. That was like one of the last things we shot, like one of the very last things we shot,
Oh.
because we wanted it to be good. So we let the artist Lo Espinoza, she created the cast and everything, and we wanted her to do it well and give her enough time to do it, come out and do the whole effect. So we definitely try to give our artists and everyone a lot of time.
I think the
R-
more
who's your
part
special effects
deadline-
artist who did the head at the end of Murdercise? What was their name that did the
Her name is Lo Espinoza.
Lo Espinosa? Because
Um,
that was an
yeah, LO.
amazing effect. I was
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
happy and thrilled to see practical gore effect
Oh yeah.
at the end of
Yes.
that movie. That was just like chef kisses everything.
Yes,
I was like,
that's
yes,
exactly, Chef's kiss. That's exactly what I say all the time.
that was
absolutely,
important to
just
us.
like the best
Well,
right there. The blood squirting up at Phoebe's face.
yeah.
Yeah, just
Oh yes.
Yeah, she
freaking
was
great. Because
Right.
you don't really see that in a lot of movies. A lot of movies now just rely on CGI and doing things
Yeah.
like that. I'm
Yeah.
so grateful, but I know this got to take like a lot of time and effort
Yeah.
to put
Yeah.
that in. So
Yeah.
kudos to you
Yeah,
for doing that.
Yeah, and then that's what I was saying. Like we kind of gotta, you gotta wait for the good stuff. And I'm glad that we found her, because we always knew that the finale had to be really good, like amazing, over the top. And we were just lucky enough that Kansas, she's the one that recommended her, because Kansas and Lo, they work together a lot. And then we met Lo, and she just showed us around her shop and told us, kind of what she's capable of. And we're just like, oh man, please, we would love to have you. And she was like, okay, I can come over tomorrow, the next day. And so
sick.
we're like, okay, cool. So she came over the next day and did the cast, and
We just happened to fit right into her schedule.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
very
it's beautiful.
lucky.
yeah, it was
So,
great.
How do you get people involved in your movies, like Murdercise and Slasher Party? Is it just like the script you have there? Do you have like poster ideas? Do you like shoot a little small little trailer? Because I know when Robert Rodriguez was trying to get financing for Sin City, he shot like a short little film to show to investors
Right.
and other cast members. Do you do things like that? Do you draw like little posters and have like make your own short films and try to promote it that way to investors and
Yeah.
all that?
So that was something that I had started back in with Streets of Vengeance. So prior to that, Paul and I were just poor film students that went to community school and film school, and we don't come from any kind of money or investors or connections. We don't have anything like that. We're just
Yeah.
regular people who work full time, just like normal. So we had been funding our own films for several years prior to Streets of Vengeance. So we felt that we were finally at a place where maybe somebody would want to participate in helping us make the project if they were interested in the story.
Yeah.
So we came up with this idea to shoot some promotional video of what the direction we were going
Yeah.
to do for the full film. So we shot a lot around the city. We did buy all the wardrobe and stuff up front.
Mm-hmm.
We did a lot of photo shoots with the girls of Streets of Vengeance, and that was prior to making the film. And so we launched our first Indiegogo for Streets of Vengeance, and we really didn't expect anybody to
Yeah.
to contribute or anything, because we were just fresh onto the scene. You know, nobody knew us or anything, so we're like, oh, we'll just put it out there and see if anyone's interested in this. And there was quite a few people that were interested in the 80s style female revenge movie that looked like metal, on the streets, grimy kind of movie. So we actually did raise some funds for that, and we were just like, what? Somebody is like contributing. So that kind of became our model, our blueprint. So every film we've done since then.
My favorite thing about Streets of Vengeance when I watched it is it had the same introduction like of USA Up All Night and made your own character Stacey Moran, and that the introduction right there was great. I only wish he came back more often in that.
Right. You know what? It's funny. We had a script written for Slasherette Party. She was supposed to be introducing Slasherette Party, and I had the script, and we were going to shoot it, but we just couldn't find the time. And it's actually really funny. In the script, Stacey Monroe is supposed to be shooting a horror movie called Murdercise. So she's dressed up in aerobics clothes, and she has a chainsaw and stuff. And at that time, Murdercise was not like a real movie. I was just like, oh, I'll just make up a fake movie that she's doing. You know, it'd be kind of funny. And so if I had done that, it would have been, you know, more connected. And actually, the Stacey Monroe, she shows up for the first time in our first movie called Cinco de Mayo. So if you want to see more of All Night Long, Cinco de Mayo is also on Tubi. So you can check that one out. That's our very first movie. So you'll definitely see a difference between Cinco de Mayo and Murdercise.
Yeah, Cinco de Mayo has no budget at all.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah, you can definitely tell. But I mean, but it's still fun. But it's still fun though.
Those are our first features. So.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was just some familiar faces from Murdercise.
I like seeing, if that was your first feature for Streets of Vengeance, I was like just blown away from the cinematography to the music to the casting to the storyline. I was like, wow, this is freaking amazing stuff. And I'm just thinking back to the old days of watching Joe Bob's movie show he had on the movie channel.
Monster Vision.
Like the drive-in, not the last drive-in, but he had another show, and then USA Up All Night with Rhonda and Deborah Godfrey just very ingenious stuff you have there for that one.
Thank you.
Perfect. You got the reference perfectly.
Yeah.
We weren't sure if people were going to get it.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I remember all those like old school stuff like that. It'd be kind of great to have like little... I like the trailer that they had for Slasherette Party, but the trailer that was at the end of that is different than the full movie that you had there. So
exactly. Yeah, because we did that trailer.
It was a fake trailer at the time because we hadn't planned on making Slasherette into a feature film. But because people saw the fake trailer, they're like, "Where is Slasherette Party? We want to see that." And after a couple of years, we're like, "Okay, I guess we'll make it." Right.
So I was like, okay, people want to see it. So that was like, our promo for it. So when we did do the Indiegogo for that one, we raised more money than Streets of Vengeance because we had the promo and we did photos and stuff. And then for Murdercise, we did the same formula, shot some promo video, shot some photos, and this one just really took off, like way beyond more than we expected. Like people were telling me, "Yeah, I'm seeing it. It's going viral." It's like viral. I don't know. I don't know about that. I haven't seen it show up anywhere. But I mean, it must be true because we raised the most money for Murdercise than we have for any other movie. Yeah,
it's been surprising.
That's great. So I noticed these movies are on Tubi, which is great. Do you find as an independent filmmaker that does the streaming market hurt or help you marketing your movies to be shown by people? Is it? I'm very kind of curious to find that out, especially for people in the filmmaking industry, like Angelica, and you, Paul, do to try to get your films out there. Is Tubi a great thing? Do you still rely on film festivals? Is it physical media that you're still trying to make money on there? Is it screenings at theaters? I mean, what's the best way for you as artists to get your films out there? Is it YouTube? Is it social media? Is it doing these podcasts like we're doing here right now? I mean, what have you found to be the best plan of attack? Or you just like try to attack it all?
That's an amazing question, actually. I think it's kind of shifted with time. When we first started making films, streaming wasn't really a thing back then. So it was more physical media. However, things were steering more towards the internet. So we still got to dip our toes into having a distribution deal in our early years and having physical media, but we always kept our streaming rights. So we're really grateful for that, because as streaming has become more and more popular, getting all of our films onto these platforms like Tubi and Plex and Amazon, it's just made it more possible for more people to discover our projects and take a chance on it instead of having to pay $15, $20, $25 for a film at Best Buy or Target, Walmart, or whatever. They can just take a chance and watch something for free on Tubi and Plex. And for us, we just feel like these people are getting to watch our movie where maybe they might not have taken the chance to buy it at a higher price. They can just watch it for free, stream it, and we still make a little bit of revenue off of streams. So for the first time, we're actually seeing a little bit of financial return off the streams, which is amazing for us as independent artists. We're like, oh my gosh, people get to watch it more, and they, through taking the chance, they become, I don't want to say the word fans because that sounds crazy.
Yeah, no, I mean,
but supporters.
I'm definitely. I see these three features. I'm definitely a fan, and I'm hoping that I can buy Murdercise and Streets of Vengeance on like a Blu-ray with like commentary tracks and behind the scenes footage and all this stuff. Like I think they're like a cast commentary for Murdercise and a director's commentary would just be epic stuff.
I love that. So that's what's been so nice, because people can take the chance and stream something for free. They can decide they really like it and then purchase the physical media.
Right.
So we do have an Etsy
That's basically
store,
what's been happening.
and that's what's been happening. So people have been watching the movie through streaming, and then they decide they like it. Then they can buy the DVD, Blu-ray, or VHS. For some of the films we've made, there's actually a VHS scene, and they can purchase those through our Etsy store if they like the movie.
Because, like, for instance, Streets of Vengeance, the first time we ever made money on Streets of Vengeance was because of Tubi and Amazon. That was the very first time. Slash Art Party, we didn't go through a distributor. We did it ourselves. So we are selling Blu-rays and DVDs and VHS tapes of Slash Art Party, and so all the money was coming directly to us. So with Murdercise, did the same thing. We're doing it ourselves, selling through Etsy, and it's on Tubi. So, like she said, people can discover us online through streaming, and then if you're a physical media collector, you're going to do that anyway. Like if you love Blu-rays and DVDs, it's, really a certain kind of person, a collector really nowadays, who will do that. But if you're not, and you're just a person that streams everything, which are tons of people that are like that, we're still being paid from those streams. And so Film Hub is a godsend, because that's where we go through Film Hub, and that's how we get onto these streaming platforms, and that's really how we're seeing money. It's through the physical distribution, and the streaming. Self-distribution, DIY distribution, and the streaming, and that's because we're doing it ourselves.
Artists have more control these days to control their own project and not have to cut in a third-party distributor or store or whatever. So it's nice that people who like to stream things on Tubi, they know they're supporting the artist directly, and not just like some huge distributor.
That makes me so happy to hear that. To know that whenever I'm watching one of your films on Tubi, that I'm still a support artist. I had no idea that you had your features on VHS, and I still own a VHS player. And God damn it,
so do we.
I may think about doing that though, because I'll be honest with you, you made some of the most funnest movies ever. Like, it would just be fun just to be like, I would love to be like a murder victim on one of those programs right there. Like the scene
awesome.
where like Kansas, stomps that guy's head in. Like, I would love that to be my head right there, just getting stomped by a high heel, good legs right there, just top of my head, just be epic and absolutely amazing.
She's gonna be a vampire in our next one. So if you like being bitten, let me know.
Oh damn! That I would come down there to be bitten and just live there for a day or so, just to have like a quick little. That would be
awesome.
Absolutely epic here. But I can't urge my listeners to please check out all the features right there. And I had to really
No,
quickly
appreciate that so much.
find. Well, I just want to quickly just tell people about the Streets of Vengeance, which is your first feature. And this one stars Dilwana McKinney, wonderful as Mila. Where did you find her? She plays like our main heroine that's been screwed over,
Yeah,
and
she's amazing. Yeah, Delana, she is an actress that's from our hometown. So we actually met her through our local theater.
Yeah.
When we were first starting making independent films, like I said, we didn't have any connections or anything like that. So we're like, where do we even find actors?
Yeah.
So we decided, like, there's local theaters here in town that regularly will put on plays or a play fest where they'll feature several writers and
Yeah.
local actors. So we went to that and saw several plays with a lot of the local actors in town, and we just basically picked who we thought were some of the best actors and basically just shot our shot with them. We just approached them after the show and said, we thought you were great. We're starting out this filmmaking thing. Would you be interested in acting in a film? And she was one of those people, and she said yes.
Yeah.
And she's so incredible.
Yeah, yeah, we love her.
it's got to be kind of like nerve-wracking too to approach people, especially if you're new filmmakers, to say, hey, you know, would you want to become part of my feature? I don't know if you have to overcome sort of like, I would be really shy and nervous to talk to people that, especially that don't have a stage to it, but hey, you want to come star in my movie in this like sexploitation revenge feature?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's. I love that you actually brought that up, because I think that is a very common theme in independent film, and I don't want to like stereotype, but a lot of times guys have a harder time approaching people, like just out of the blue, cold calling someone. I, on the other hand, have no shame, so
Okay.
I will talk to anybody. And even I'm not afraid of them saying no. Even with Ginger Lynn, like she's like, a lot of people know she's an icon in her
Right.
field.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that I'm like, what's the worst they could say? I'm just going to ask them, and I'm expecting them to say no.
Yeah.
If they say yes, then I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, there's
So-
been plenty of people that we reached out to and just said no or didn't respond back, and that's fine, and that worked out for the best, you know, because
Yeah.
the people that did say yes are the ones that worked out
Yeah.
great.
The sooner you can ask people and like get to the people that are going to say yes, the sooner you get started on your project. You have to you do have to build yourself up a little bit and know that it's not personal if people say no to you or whatever. You just have to, like, that's just part of the process. You just got to keep going and find the people who are going to want to collaborate.
Yeah, and it does help too, like, you know, being like male and female, being a couple, you know, when approaching these people. And it also kind of helps if you know someone they know, because we were friends with a couple of actors, and so they knew, like, oh, you're the filmmaker couple that works with Josh or works with Daniel or, you know, so and so. It's like, oh yeah, that's us. You know, we do that. And they're, okay, so it's kind of like, you know, like a referral kind of basis. You know, people kind of see you around, so you're not just like, you know, just come out of the blue, just asking them, hey, will you be in my sexploitation movie? Because it didn't start out that way. Like the first thing we did with Delana was like a little short film, like an artsy film, and then we did another feature with Delana. It's on YouTube called Rough Cut, and that's more like a kind of a romantic kind of comedy, kind of a funny, like a filmmaker in love with his muse type of thing. So we had a relationship with her, and actually she was the one that said, I'd asked her, oh, what kind of projects do you want to work on? And she's like, oh, I have these boots. You know, I call them my, you know, Mila Jovovich boots, because like when she was in Resident Evil, she like kicks ass and stuff. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, I've always wanted to do a female revenge movie, always. And I was like, I might have something. And so then that's how we called the character Mila as well. And so that kind of little started it off. She wanted to do like an ass-kicking movie. And, you know, we were the ones that came up with the whole 80s, you know, vigilante
Girl
stuff.
gang,
Yeah,
yeah.
girl gang, adult film industry stuff. That was all us, of course, she didn't know anything about. But she trusted us, and it's like, okay, I'll go along, you know, with the big hair and the belts and the, you know, skimpy clothes. All right, we'll see.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Oh, I think you might be on mute.
Oh,
I think you're on mute.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
I think your microphone's on mute, or I see the.
There we go. Sorry
Slash.
about that. So, sorry about
That's okay.
bad things supposed here. But no, I was saying Streets of Rage looked so much like a movie, like a lost VHS movie from the
Yeah.
80s. And I was reminded
Yes.
by a movie from Ty West called The House of the Devil that looked like a lost horror movie from that decade. your feature, Streets of Vengeance, looks very much like a lost VHS movie from the era, from the music
that's a high
to
That is a
the
huge
film stock
compliment.
and everything you used to, the score music, even the way the film begins, it looks like somebody puts a VHS tape into the machine.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah, yeah.
it starts off with that. But if you don't know the story, adult star Mila, played by, and I'm going to mess up her name, and I apologize, Dewana McKinney. She does kick my ass. I'm so sorry. Dewana McKinney, former adult film star, is attacked by a misogynistic cult known as the Sword. She turns vigilante and puts a group of badass girls together and seeks revenge. And the woman that you have seeking revenge in this is Paige Linnaeus Amber and Flora Moon as Stella, Cassidy St. Hubbins as Liv, Amanda Cox as Val, featuring Brian Hurd, who is also in Murdercise. Am I correct with that?
Yep.
Val, the guy who's the bad guy in your Streets of Vengeance,
Yeah.
is the bumbling producer of Murdercise right there.
Yes.
And I just love how you have the same stock group of like characters. You see this, and that's what happens a lot in these like grindhouse exploitation features. They'll feature like a good group of cast members, and you'll see them in different roles, and they're like, "Oh yes, I recognize this character from this." So it's gonna be really interesting to see how your career pans out, and seeing actors appear in one role, appear in another, and just the way that your fets keep building and your budget keeps building the features right there. It's just been an absolute joy and fun to watch these movies, and just absolutely great.
That's
just
so cool. Love to hear that.
I know. Appreciate
one
that so
quick
much.
question there, because I'm kind of curious about this. So, with us, Streets of Vengeance, did you get Sophie D and Joanna Angel because of I want to their name right now. Ginger Lynn? Is that how you got them to be in the movie? Is through Ginger Lynn, or is that?
No, it's
Actually,
separate.
it's the other way around, because we shot with Joanna and Sophie and Alexis before Ginger.
Okay.
And I do remember when we reached out to Ginger, we had told them, "Oh, we worked with so and so," just to tell her that we're not just some dummies from middle of nowhere. Like we are shooting with certain people. But yeah, they were separate. It was a separate thing. Like they didn't know of each other. At least Joanna Angel and the other ones, they didn't know each other. They just saw our trailer. Like we just showed them what we were working on, and from there they were like, "Yes, I'll do this. Yes, that sounds pretty cool." Or, "Yeah, I'm down."
I don't know if you guys reach out to. So you reach out to from one person, then they contact another person, and then that's how they were in the feature, and how that works out.
The only ones that were like that we got 2 for 1 basically was Alexis and Alexis and Sophie. Well, they're in the scene together, but because we reached out to Alexis, she said she was going to be with Sophie D that night, that she was free, and she was like, "Oh, maybe Sophie want to be in it too." And so she was like, "Yeah." So I was like, "Okay, cool,
We're
yeah."
like, yes.
Because first we only had pictured just one person, but then I was like, "Oh, 2 of them?" Like, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, you have to pay their, both their fee, so it's double what you were expecting. But it's like you can't pass that up.
Yeah.
And it's like we gotta write something real quick. They're both available, same time, same place. Let's do it, and it became a very memorable scene. So that's that kind of thing where you just have to kind of roll with the situation, and sometimes it turns out to be better than you expected.
So I'm curious about this because I know a lot of people who listen to the show are upcoming filmmakers and they want to try to produce their own feature. How do you raise money to put this stuff together, like principal money to shoot a movie? What's your first step? Like, how do you try to? Is it just through Kickstarter? Do you just try to what do you do?
We've never done Kickstarter. The only platform we've used so far has been Indiegogo, which we really like. We like the format that they use. Another thing that's probably really important for upcoming filmmakers to know is that we didn't use Indiegogo on our first film. So we were making films for quite a few years before we even thought about raising money. We just wanted to make sure we had enough experience. We wanted to make sure that we could finish making a film. We wanted to make sure we had what it takes before we even asked people for a penny.
Yeah.
Sure.
So once we had proved, like, okay, we had already made a feature for pretty much no
Nothing,
budget.
yeah.
That was Cinco de Mayo, our very first feature film. So we're like, okay, I think we can do this. We started making short films. We made a couple of features just out of our own pocket.
Yep.
And at that point, we felt pretty confident that we could, if we shot a little bit of promotional material, maybe somebody would contribute, and then we felt confident that we would finish that project.
Yeah.
So how many years was it that we were making films before we did it? Like,
we had made 3 feature
years?
films between 2010 and 2014. Because 2014 is when we started the working on Streets of Vengeance.
Yeah.
So, like, I think we launched the campaign for Streets of Vengeance in 2015. So it's about a good 5 years of making features and short films before we launched the Indiegogo campaign. And what we learned from the first one is, it really helps to have photos and promotional video, not just a pitch video, but like a concept, proof of concept kind of a thing, to show people the vibe and the style of what you're going for. And hopefully that will attract people's eyes and attention and want to know, what is this thing that you're doing?
It also helps to have previous work so people can go back to your YouTube channel or whatever and see stuff that you've done previously to know, like, what is their vibes? What does their work kind of look like? Because sometimes the concept alone is not enough. Because we've seen a lot of people that have really good ideas and they just didn't quite market it, or maybe it just didn't, the timing was off or something, and it didn't really raise money, even though it was a great idea. So you just never know. It's kind of like just a mix of magic. At this point, because we've made so many films and word has kind of spread, like people had fun with Streets of Vengeance, and then they came back for Slash Lorette Party, and then new friends and fans came on and they're like, I love Slash Lorette Party, and they went back and watched Streets of Vengeance. They're like, okay, now I want to help fund Murdercise, and now there's new people that like Murdercise. And again, streaming has been a huge part of that as well, because it reaches more people, that they're able to take the chance and watch something if they like it, and they're like, I had a lot of fun with this, I want to come back and support their future project. So there's been a lot of people that watch Murdercise and now want to support our next thing, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I think it's great, and that's some really great advice too, just to tell people to go out there, start shooting short films, start shooting your own features, just go out there, and you got to start like making a YouTube channel and start putting features on there. Just do that, build up an audience, get people to like watch your stuff, and then as the more and more that builds up, that is can build up to your feature film that you want to do. But just go out there and just do that, and that's been huge like inspiration, and that's kind of what we're kind of doing here at Cinema Recall. Which we want to reach out to a bunch of different independent musicians and artists and directors and film festival programmers and get them on the show to promote the features. So it's been really great fun, and I'm so grateful that you're here to talk about your features because they are amazing. I really quickly, we did talk about Streets of Vengeance, but I do want to move on really quickly to Slash Lorette Party because I mentioned that I do want to talk about all your movies on here. Yes, so Slash Lorette Party quickly. So it stars, and I'm just trying to pull up her name right now. Where is she? See, I don't know why when I look things up on IMDb, it never features the main character as the first actor on there. So I gotta find her. Where's Bree? So Bree is played by Molly Souza, and she's a newlywed going to her bachelorette party that's being run by her best friend. I want to say it's Mandy. Is that? Who is?
I think it's a Brooke's character. What was her name?
Oh, it's Brooke. Sorry, Brooke. Alexa. You're right. Brooke Morris plays Alexa. Yeah. Sorry about that. She's trying to throw a bachelorette party for her friend, but what Alexa doesn't know is that Bree wants to break up with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend is this very chauvinistic, abusive guy, played wonderfully by Andrew Brown, who is just cast perfectly as this like smug, the type of guy who had like a higher education and just thinks he's better than everyone else, and also really sadistic. And I'm sure he's probably the
Very
nicest guy ever off camera and everything like that, but I fucking hated him in that movie. Like, his character. Not him,
Yes,
not Andrew Brown, but his fucking character.
everybody does.
Everyone says that.
Everybody
Yeah.
says that. That's perfect. That's what we want.
Exactly what we
We
wanted.
want you to hate his face.
Yes. Oh. Okay, good. Okay, because I did 100% hate his face. And then, Nina, Nina Lene Kent plays one of the bridesmaids, and she's always had a crush on the bride. And meanwhile, there's the two killers that show up there, but the main character. Sorry, I'm going off track here with my ADHD. Bree, played by Molly Souza, was absolutely just great. She was great in that role. Where did you find Molly? That's a long-winded way to say where you find Molly, and I apologize.
Okay. She is the
Friend of a friend.
Yeah, from
Basically.
from Slasher. Shoots of Vengeance. Cassie Say Hubbins. We got Molly through her, or we found her through her.
They're stepsisters.
Yeah, stepsisters.
Okay.
And so that's how we cast her for the fake trailer.
Yeah.
And then we had pulled in some other people for the fake trailer as well that that we had known throughout the years, and that was like their first film. Like all of them, pretty much all of them, that was like their first thing they've ever done.
Yeah.
And so when we did the feature film, that became their first feature film that they've ever done.
Yes.
Okay. Very cool. Nice. This. So you mentioned you have a new feature coming up shortly, or about vampires. That
We're barely going to start pre-production in the winter time.
Yeah.
So that's when we'll start planning the timeline for next year of the pre-production and all that. So it's going to be in the very early stages of barely starting to plan that out.
Yeah, the script is done, and we've talked to a few people like who we want to use or who we want to bring into the movie, and with just a few select people, and they're really excited about it. Anyone we've talked to about it, like our supporters and friends, we told them we're making a vampire movie called Only Fangs. They like, all right, sign me up. I'm there. Let me know when you launch the campaign first day. So we have a lot of people just real excited for it. But yeah, Only Fangs is going to be our next feature film next year, probably in spring, early summer, I would say.
Well, I hope you
That was
send
our
me.
shooting.
I hope you send me the links to try to promote this feature, because I would love
Yes.
to
For sure.
share,
thank
promote
you.
money, everything that because
man.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
It
man, I
would
appreciate
be-
that
Yeah,
so
I
much.
appreciate it.
I mean, this thing has been really cool, just like, going from Shoots of Vengeance to Slash Upright to Murdercise, and all the people that are like, oh, I love this movie. I want to see the next thing. I want to see the next thing. Like, that's like the biggest, most encouraging compliment anyone can give us is like, I want to see what you do next. I want to see
special.
what you do next.
Yeah,
It's
so special.
Well, speaking about money and whatnot, there, gotta do a quick little break right now to talk about our sponsor, Magic Mind. Magic Mind is a new energy system made by natural sources. It's like 5-hour energy, but you don't hate yourself after having it. Magic Mind is made with the best natural ingredients that you can find, and you can get special discounts on the website, magicmind.com. And I promise you on future episodes, we will actually have Magic Mind canisters. So I want to give them a quick shout out right now because they're our new sponsor. So magicmind.com, energy supplement company. They're very well. I imagine so. We're going to try the product soon, but go to magicmind.com, and that's it for that right there. During the actual podcast section, we are taking a small break to play ad spots from some amazing podcast shows that you should definitely check out, and then we'll be right back with the filmmakers of Slasher at Party, Streets of Vengeance, and their latest, greatest feature, Murdercise, Angelica, Alba, and Paul Ragsdale. And for our YouTube watchers and Patreon users, that was a very short break. I hope you had a chance to use the bathroom, get yourself a beer, because we are back right now with the filmmakers. wrapping things up with them, just want to say thank you so much. I told people that they can find this movie on Tubi, but if they did want to buy physical copies of all these movies and give you guys more money to shoot your next feature, where should they go?
Yeah, if you're interested, we have an Etsy store, AP Films. Just search us on Etsy, or you can just type in Murdercise or Slasherette Party, and they'll show up. But AP Films is our store name. That's our company name. We have Blu-rays, DVDs, and even VHS tapes, and character posters. We have some T-shirts on there, too. We'll have a few more. I think we have a signed Blu-ray copy by Ginger Lynn. Still
okay.
on there. There's one left.
I think it's one.
One left. Yeah, I think we had like maybe 4, and they already sold already. So we have one left on there. Some posters signed by Ginger Lynn as well. We'll have a few more like postcards signed by Kansas Bowling on there. Unfortunately, all the signed Blu-rays and DVDs are already been sold out, but we still have Blu-rays and DVDs on there. So if you want to support us and keep us going and support us for the next movie, go to Etsy or stream our movies nonstop.
I still want to come out and be a vampire victim for the feature. Do you have an extras sort of like audition reel or?
Yeah, just send me a video of you dying. Yeah, that'd be cool. Like, it's like we got bit by the neck or something.
I'd get my co-host to bite me and kill me that way.
There we go.
Oh.
There we go.
Wow, get legit, huh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
and
I'm
she actually will draw real blood.
Yeah, I had
probably
have her
would.
in it too.
All right, well, that'd be great.
Yeah, I like the way you bite. I like the way you bite.
See? Go there, get paid for that stuff there.
Yeah.
Well, before we do go, I always do this for every episode. I gotta give a shout out to our wonderful Patreon supporters. So if you can just help me out and just give like a little like yay or cheer when I mention names, okay? So our Patreon again is patreon.com/cinemaricopod, and here's a shout out to all of our wonderful, amazing Patreon supporters. We have Mr. Jason Soto from Rabbit Hole Podcasts.
Woo, Jason! Yay.
Yes. Linda Castro from Bed Knobs and Broomflits.
Yeah,
Linda,
thank you, Linda.
Get it.
Right. Donnie Roberts, formerly of Cage's Kiss, now writes the Deep Sea Anthologies. Thank you, Donnie.
Nice.
Yeah,
Come on,
Donnie.
Donnie.
Matt and Ashley from Mashley at the Movies.
Ooh,
Mashley.
Mashley, I love that. Yes,
Yes.
Mashley.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. All right. And then we have Jeanette Makenham from AKA Jeanette.
Let's go,
Yeah,
Jeanette.
Then we have our good friend Harvey Andrus, who was part of mine and Ashley's band, but now he's not in it anymore, called Your Girlfriend, but he's a Patreon supporter. So thank you, Harvey Andrus, for doing that.
Woo!
Thank you,
Thanks,
Harvey.
All right. And then we have lastly Jen McQuaid from the podcast Shot and Applaud.
Ooh,
Yeah, Jen.
come on.
Woohoo.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you very much to our Patreon supporters. You are getting this video episode earlier than everyone else. Podcast listeners will get the actual podcast episode a week from when this post, or usually we post on Tuesday, then we'll post the full episode on Friday. But that's it right now. Big thank you to our wonderful guests. They are the most sweetest people ever in the world, and I imagine that when people make movies with you, it's fun. And I tell people this too, like, you are like a combination of Andy Sedaris and Lloyd Kaufman and Russ Meyer.
Hey. Oh.
Wow.
3 icons right there.
Okay, we're gonna take that.
Big humble.
And
big
like,
humble.
We
Compliment.
did
Compliment.
a whole month of Andy Sedaris features here on Cinema Recall. And I imagine years down the road, we are going to be covering the A&P films and have you guys make films of the month. You only have 3 movies out right now, so it's really hard to do that, but
We have
give
4.
it time. 4, that's right, 4.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. We're
I wasn't
working
3,
on
I'm
it.
sorry.
I mean, no, it's okay. It's okay. We're working on it. Like, I mean, we want to do OnlyFans. We have a wrestling movie that we want to make after that, and I do want to make all night long movie, an anthology where you have a host that goes through all 3 movies, and she will be presenting 3 different short films made by us, and we just go totally 80s out, one last hurrah.
Gonna go all A and P on
Yeah, so Andy Sedaris, yeah, he is one of our idols. He's definitely someone we want to follow in the footsteps of. So
a huge compliment.
Yes. So hopefully, the vision
we can deliver.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Please watch our other videos and listen to our other podcast episodes that we do. Anyways, folks, I am the Vern. You also should let you guys. Where do you find you guys on social media? That's another thing I forgot to ask you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're on Instagram, _P_films. That's where we're mostly have all our videos and BTS and trailers and everything. And I'm also on Facebook, Paul Ragsdale. Just hit me up, DM me, whatever. Talk about movies. I'm always there.
Epic. And I'll make sure I'll post links on our main pages, so it doesn't matter if you're listening to us or watching us. You'll see on the little description right there at the bottom of your screen. If you scroll down, you'll see it right there. A&P Productions. Bam, where to find Murdercise. Bam, where to find their other features. Just look right there, and I'll post their social media links and our other social media links as well. Cinema Recall is available on Instagram and on Twitter. I'm calling it Twitter. Fuck you, Elon Musk. I'm not calling it fucking X. It's still Twitter. All right, I don't give a shit.
Twitter.
All right. So you can tweet at us. All right. I'm not doing anything about reposting. No, it's retweeting, motherfucker. All right. Tweet at us.
Right.
At cinema_recall. You can find us right there and on Instagram and on Facebook. Join our Facebook group, Crack. Cinema Recall's awesome cinematic club with a K. And we'll be featuring interviews with Angelica and Paul, as well as their trailers on there as well. So, anyway, folks, I said enough right now. Thank you all very much, and have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that is...